Why is it that a diet will work for one person, but another person with a similar body type in a similar situation will try the exact same diet and not get results? Okay. I was researching something called the Dukan diet, which is similar to my pure protein diet, when I came across an article in Women's Health called I Tried the Dukan Diet for 2 weeks, here's what happened. Well, I really wanted to see what the results were when this person tried the Dukan diet. What I found instead were a bunch of lessons that a lot of people can learn about why you're out of shape in the first place and why you can't get a diet to work for you, even though the diet works for other people, okay? Now, first of all, I want to make sure that you understand I'm not being negative. I hate these YouTubers who are just negative and talk shit about everything. This is not negative. This is constructive. We are learning a lesson from this woman's experience, and I don't want anybody to think I'm being negative towards her, okay? Like I said, there's a lesson to learn here, so let's think positively and realize that this is something that's going to help you guys. Okay. First of all, it says, she says, okay, part of the stabilization, the final phase where it's actually a sustainable diet. To keep your weight in check, the website advises you to follow 3 non-negotiable rules for the rest of your life. Eat 3 tablespoons of oat bran a day. Walk 20 minutes and take the stairs whenever possible. Eat nothing but protein-rich foods every Thursday. Okay, that's all you've got to do when you're done with the diet to maintain your weight loss, okay? And then it says in parentheses, I could get behind the second rule, okay, walk 20 minutes a day, take the stairs whenever possible, but the other 2, not so much. So she hasn't even started the diet yet, and she is already saying, but I can't do this, okay? And I already did a video about the power of but in terms of fucking your life up. How do I become a millionaire? Do this, this, and this. But a guy's explaining to you how he got rich, and you're saying, but I don't want to, but I can't, but I don't feel like it, but what if I? Don't change it. Shut the fuck up, and when a millionaire tells you how he got rich, you fucking listen, okay? How do I lose weight? Well, do this, this, and this. But shut the fuck up and stick to the fucking diet, okay? So like I said, this is the reason why. She's coming in with a negative attitude before she even started the diet. She's already saying after she goes through the diet, she's not going to do these tiny little things that it takes to stay on the diet, okay? Like 1 day a week, she's supposed to eat on a structure, okay? And every day she's supposed to take a few seconds to throw in some oat bran into her mouth. That's it, okay? And she's already in advance decided that she's not going to do that, okay? Now, then she talks about how she talked to a nutritionist before she started the diet. Vince Gironda was a big fan of saying you cannot obey 2 masters. If you want dietary information, you go to this guy or you go to this guy. Whichever guy you go to, that's the only guy you listen to, okay? You want training, you go to this guy or this guy. Whoever you go to that one guy for training. You don't go to this one guy, then turn around, hey, what do you think about what he said? You can only obey one master. So if she wants to try this diet, then she needs to try this diet word for word as it's written and not fuck around with asking nutritionists about advice. And I will tell you, one of the problems is she talks about how, okay, so Samantha Heller, is most decidedly not a fan of the Dukan diet. Okay, do not ask a nutritionist for advice. It's almost as bad as asking a doctor for advice. Doctors have like maybe half a semester, maybe, of nutrition. That's it. They don't know shit about nutrition. A nutritionist only knows 3 square meals a day, food pyramid, the same crap that's been poisoning Americans for the last several decades, okay? They are not going to be open to any concept of any diet that doesn't follow the SAD, the standard American diet, okay? That's just the way it is. Now, I'm not saying the Dukan diet is great. I'm just saying you could come up with any diet in the world, and if it's not the food pyramid and 3 squares a day and all that crap, a nutritionist is going to tell you that it's not going to work. Okay, number 1. Okay, you're cutting out carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the primary source of fuel for our brains, our exercising muscles. So why would you want to cut this out, said the dietitian. The fact of the matter is this, okay? If you would die if you didn't eat carbohydrates, I would have been dead years ago. I haven't eaten carbohydrates in years. Lots of people, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people haven't eaten carbohydrates in years. We'd all be fucking dead or brain dead if our brains needed carbohydrates. The fact of the matter is, if you don't eat carbohydrates, your body breaks down fat, makes ketones, and your brain actually a lot of times likes ketones better. Okay, and if people feel like their cognitive ability, they're more awake, they're more aware than when they eat carbohydrates. Okay, so this person, this registered dietitian, either A, doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, or B, is lying, okay, automatically. Not to mention, once again, why are we asking somebody else their opinion on a diet if you want to try the diet? If you want to try the diet, just try the diet. Don't ask anybody else, okay? Then she says the Dukan diet doesn't include learning sustainable weight loss habits such as eating moderation. But there are 4 phases to the Dukan diet, apparently. Once again, I'm not trying to argue for this diet. I'm trying to argue for truth. There are 4 phases, and it slowly makes it more and more sustainable towards the end, okay? So I don't know where she says it doesn't teach you to eat in moderation, okay? Then Heller, okay, Samantha Heller, RDN, broke it to me that U.S. News and World Report has recently named the Dukan diet one of the worst popular diets out there. Why the fuck is your registered dietitian getting her information by reading the U.S. News and World Report? Fucking seriously, okay? That's just basically all I'm going to say. That's like if I go to a doctor and he's like, you should probably use this medicine because I read about it in fucking Reader's Digest. They said you should use it. Get a new doctor. If a fucking dietitian says that, hey, U.S. News and World Report says this, get a new fucking dietitian. Who you shouldn't be talking to in the first place, because once again, why is it that you're asking somebody else for advice if you're going to try a diet? Okay, so then she says the first day, the protein-only, quote, attack day was by far the toughest. I was so used to reaching for a granola bar or a piece of fruit when I felt hunger pangs that suddenly needing to find and prepare my meals and snacks was a huge shock. Now, can we agree this is the reason why she's overweight in the first place? Okay? All she does is eat packaged food. It was a shock to have to fucking cook. It was a shock to not go to fucking McDonald's. It was a shock to not open up a fucking cellophane wrapper and eat fucking food, okay? Can we agree that the old saying holds true? Not every cook is a bodybuilder, but every bodybuilder is a cook. If you're a bodybuilder, an athlete, a fucking model, somebody who doesn't want to be fat as fuck, you have to learn to cook. I fucking don't like to cook. I can cook. Okay, if I need a lot of fat, a lot of calories, I can fucking throw something on the fucking frying pan. If I need fucking a lot of protein, I can fucking throw something on the frying pan. I can get by, I can cook. I'm not the best in the world, but I can cook, okay? So if she says it's a shock to prepare her own meals, that means she's either eating fast food or eating processed prepared food constantly, and we already know why she's fucking got a weight problem, okay? Then she starts talking about how she, quote, barely survived by scarfing large amounts of Greek yogurt, a protein shake, yada, yada, yada. It's worth noting that protein powder isn't actually listed as one of the 100 foods allowed on the diet. I took some liberties. In fact, I took many liberties during those 2 weeks. Or, as my husband put it when he caught me drizzling diet unapproved honey on a bowl of Greek yogurt one day, quote, I feel like you're reading between the lines of this diet. Okay, pay attention. She's pouring honey, sugar, when she's on like a protein-based diet. Now, she hasn't ever been on this diet. Regardless of what the results are from her 2 weeks on this diet, there was no point where she was on this diet. Okay, I hope you understand. This is like, I get a lot of questions about the steak and eggs diet, about the, which is also called the meat, eggs, and water diet. Can I eat ABC on this diet? Is ABC meat? No. Is it eggs? No. Is it water? No. Well, I guess you can't. Can I drink alcohol on this diet? Can I drink wine on this diet? Can I drink beer on this diet? Is that water? No. Well, I guess you fucking can. Okay? This is like really, really crazy shit. I tried the XYZ diet. It didn't work. Well, the XYZ diet is you only eat, pineapples and you had potato chips all day. So technically you were never on the pineapple diet because you just ate potato chips all day. So how the fuck do you know if the diet worked or not? Okay? So, and this is interesting too. Like I said, protein powder she had on the very first day. So the very first day of this diet, she was already cheating and going off of it. Which, like I said, you could tell from the beginning where she already decided she's not going to do what you have to do to sustain the diet. You already knew from the beginning she wasn't going to stick to the diet, but she did not make one day on this diet without changing it and doing what the fuck she wanted to do. Okay? It didn't help that I'd sooner eat peanut butter sandwiches for days on end than cook a healthy, delicious meal. Once again, you're too fucking lazy to cook. Step number one, realize you're going to have to cook or you're going to be unhealthy. Period. You can't open cellophane wrappers for the rest of your life and expect to be healthy. Period. Non-negotiable. I don't give a fuck what kind of a diet you go on. Period. End of story. Okay? The 6 days I spent on the protein and veggie only cruise phase, I think that's the second phase where you add protein and you also add vegetables, were rough. When I needed a quick snack, I'd share a small bowl of yogurt with my cat, grab a couple of cheese slices, or give in to my carb cravings and sneak a Kind or Kind bar or a few squares of chocolate. Sneak. Who the fuck are you sneaking this from? Yourself. You're the one who's on this fucking diet. So if you're, quote, sneaking this shit, you're basically fucking yourself. This is dumb as fuck, okay? So basically she didn't make it through the first phase, which is 1 day. She immediately cheated on the first day. Now she's sneaking in chocolate and granola bars in the next phase. So once again, she hasn't been on this diet for one single day, okay? Now let's see. Things went a lot smoother once I read the consolidation phase, okay, which is I think the second to last, the third phase I think it is, where you kind of start making it more and more sustainable. And I could reintroduce previously forbidden foods. Yes, technically I already been doing that, but at least now I didn't feel so guilty about it. Okay, I don't understand because it sounds almost like she's joking, like, well, actually the whole time I was cheating, but now I just don't feel guilty. Hee hee. Okay, it's not fucking funny that you failed. It's not fucking funny that you think it's funny that you didn't even really give the diet a chance. Okay? The fact is, admit you fucked up. Don't be proud of it. Don't laugh about it. This laissez-faire attitude, oh, well, who cares? Yeah, I cheated every single day on this diet. Okay, is not going to get you any goddamn where. Okay? Try going to work and the first 2 weeks you don't show up on time a single fucking day. Well, I didn't really show up on time every day. I guess I got fired. Okay? The fact of the matter is, like I said, this shows the attitude that she has towards the diet, and it explains why she's fat in the first place, and then also explains why the diet may not have worked as it's supposed to have worked. Okay? I found that I don't cope well when someone tells me I can't eat something. It only makes me want something, i.e. carbs, even more. Okay. You ask for advice, somebody says ABC, and you don't like being told what to do, so you do anything but ABC. How the fuck do you expect to get results? Stop asking for advice. If somebody gives you advice and you say, well, I don't like being told what to do, so I'm going to do the exact opposite, guess what? Don't ask for advice in the first motherfucking place because you know you're not going to do it, okay? My Dukan diet results. Even though I strayed from the diet here and there, I managed to lose 5 pounds by the end of 2 weeks. It's hardly noticeable in photos, but I can definitely see and feel the difference, okay? My pure protein diet, if you don't lose over 5 pounds in the first week, you're doing something wrong, which she obviously was, okay? And you know what? I'm glad that I broke the rules on this diet. Sure, I probably could have lost more weight if I'd been strict, but the truth is the way I ate during these 2 weeks was actually sustainable for me. Okay, the funny thing is I don't really see her, because she talked about how this sucked, sustaining the way she was eating, where she tries to eat like protein, but she cheats. Yes, it's true that might be sustainable, but she's not going to do that because as soon as she gets into the phase where you're allowed to eat whatever you want, okay, she's automatically going to stop. So it's not supposed to be sustainable is what I'm trying to say. With my pure protein diet, it's not a sustainable diet. You eat 70% of your calories from protein, 30% from fat. Okay, it sucks. It's very low calories. It's extremely low carbs. It's very low fat. It's not a good thing to be on. It's not supposed to be sustainable. But the fact of the matter is, that's what you've got to do for a short amount of time. Okay, so like I said, it's not supposed to be sustainable. I don't know why she's talking about it being sustainable because number one, it's not supposed to be something you sustain for a long period of time. And number two, she stopped the diet anyway. So who gives a fuck if it's sustainable or not, okay? And then of course at the end it says, but don't get me wrong, I still plan on eating the occasional donut or two. So once again, it's this laissez-faire attitude where like, oh, I think it's so cute that I'm doing what I want. And of course, I'm getting the same results as somebody who gets what I want. So does what he wants. So anyway, what I'm basically saying here is just like with me, where I recently noticed that I had a mental block, okay, that every time that I achieved success, I set this weight loss goal. This is my my version of success. Okay, I set a financial goal. This much money is my version of success. I set an education goal. This level of education is my success. I have a mental block that will keep me from achieving success. Okay, so every time I get really close to my goal, I immediately self-sabotage. Okay, finding that out has completely changed my life in every single way. And it's the same thing with this girl. Okay, like I said, if you go into a diet automatically, and this has nothing to do with this. It has to do with a diet. It could be a business plan. I mean, if you go to an accountant or a business advisor because you're trying to do a new business and your first thought is, I'm going to ask him, but then I'm going to ask my banker what he thinks about my accountant's advice, you're fucked up. Don't ask your accountant, just go straight to the banker. Or if you go to the accountant, don't ask the banker, okay? Don't go ahead and keep asking, questioning for other people's advice, okay? Like I said, this is a mental block that she has. Don't like doing what people tell you to do. You're never going to be able to take advice if you don't like doing what people are going to tell you to do. Okay, like I said, just deciding in advance that you're not going to follow through on everything. Why do you ask for advice? So, like I said, what I'm basically trying to get down to is there are a whole lot of points that have nothing to do with a diet, have nothing to do with a workout plan, have nothing to do with a business plan, have nothing to do with anything. Okay. That are going to completely change the results you get, okay? Like I said, this diet or any other diet. Now, you might say, oh, well, this diet is unsustainable, this diet is evil, this diet doesn't work. Fine, that's great. But guess what? If she takes the same negative attitudes into the other diets, no diet's gonna work. High carb, low fat, high fat, low carb, the Dukan diet, the pineapple diet, the fucking, whatever diet, no diet's going to work if she takes this attitude. And she's going to be running around from diet to diet saying, well, why doesn't it work? Well, the same reason the last diet didn't work. The same reason the last diet didn't work. And what is the common ground between high protein, high fat, low carbs and high carbs, low fat? Well, let's see. The diets are completely different. The only thing that's the same is you. If this diet doesn't work and this completely different diet doesn't work and this completely different diet doesn't work for you, the only common denominator is you. So maybe it's your inability to follow a diet in the first place. And like I said, this is not meant to be negative towards anybody. This is meant basically if you keep failing, okay, no matter what diet you do, no matter what relationship you're in, no matter what business you start, no matter what major you have in college, okay, if you keep failing, maybe the difference is, maybe the problem is you, and the problem is not what you're trying to study, what you're trying to do, what diet you're trying to do, okay? So like I said, it's like these mental blocks, okay, that you need to figure out. Don't figure out why the diet didn't work, figure out why you didn't work the diet.